I'm hearing a few different layers. The
Yeah.
most outer layer, let's call it the most superficial, not superficial as in not worthy, but the most practical boots on the ground is the challenge around making a time to have a clear system, right? This is how businesses operate. This is how anything that has complexity operates. There is a system. We as humans operate as a system. So our system might be we wake up at 6 a.m. every day and we shower and we go to the gym and we go to work and then we come back. And a part of that system might be meal prepping on Sundays or shuttling the kiddos off to school. We have life systems. And when we have life systems, our life operates with a reduced level of chaos and a reduced level of unpredictability because there is a system. So the most superficial layer of this is that you don't have a system. And that is that maybe once a month, you sit down with a glass of wine and a playlist and you find meetups, or you ask friends what their social events are, or you do a bulk round of swiping. And maybe you only do that once a month. And that works for you. What I would say most superficially and most practically is create a system that works for you. What I don't want you to do is try and fit a square peg into a round hole and try and make this work. Oh, I have to do this to meet a man, to find a husband, to that's not the energy we want you to come at it with, because if that's the nucleus of this adventure, then it's fucked. Like, sure, you could get to the end, but are you going to enjoy it? And what kind of energy are you going to bring? And what kind of state are you going to be in while you're trudging through the muck to try and get to this outcome? It's just like making money. So many entrepreneurs burn the candle at both ends to get to $1 million or six figures or whatever. But for what? Then when you get there, you're not even going to enjoy it because you're so burnt out. So find a system that works for you and start there. That's the most outer layer. Second to that is ask yourself why you're avoiding this. And write that down, because there may be a number of different answers. It might be, I don't like it. It's not fun. I feel burnt out. I don't want to make time for it. I just want the relationship without the dating. I feel scared. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to risk being disappointed. And ask why the avoidance is there. Because when you know why you're avoiding something, then you know what to actually do about it. Like for me, in my business, sometimes I avoid creating content. Why? It's not because I don't like creating content, so I don't have to fix the problem of not liking it. It's because I don't have a system. So at least I know, when I know what the core of the issue is, then I can address that. Now, I also avoid it because sometimes I don't want to be seen. It feels scary. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to disappoint people. I see how quickly people get canceled for having an opinion. And oh no, I've had friends get canceled and have to go on a whole journey with that. So I also avoid it because I feel scared. I don't want to be judged online. I don't want to say something and not be able to take it back. Now that I know that's a part of the issue, how am I going to address that thing? The addressing being scared of being seen and not having a system are two different solutions. So when you ask, why am I avoiding this? And you get really honest with yourself, then you can come up with the right solution. So if I were to ask you that again, what are some of the reasons that you're aware of right now as to why you're avoiding prioritizing dating?
Oh gosh. I definitely think I need to sit down with myself and like journal about this because I I actually probably think there's a lot of reasons. Like it's layered. I think like right now, just like what's coming to the top of my head is I'm afraid of getting hurt or like dealing with that heartbreak, like emotional pain. And then to me, sometimes it almost feels like a waste of time, which I know is like such a bad way to look at it, but that's how I feel sometimes. Cause every time I've started dating again a lot, I just like always get in these like really weird, like uncomfortable situations. And then I'm like, I could have just hung out at home tonight and enjoyed myself so much more and not dealt with this. So I almost feel like I'm wasting my time, but like I know that's not the way I need to go about it. To obviously you're going to have to deal with some like shitty dates to find the right one. And I think I just like give up too easily maybe because I feel like I could be doing so many other things in this moment. That's just what's coming to my head right now.
Yeah. So I heard a few things. One, you don't want to get hurt. Two, you've had some really unsavory experiences and you're like, why did I even do this? I could be chilling at home in my own energy and that feels really good. And then it's okay, why am I even doing this if what the evidence in the past tells me is that it's going to be shitty? Let me just respond to a few things there. And everyone listen for this because we all have things that we avoid because we don't want to be hurt, we don't want to feel rejected, we don't want to feel disappointed, we don't want to feel sadness or grief. We don't want to risk losing something. Same thing I said to Helen, which is if you just made a practice of deciding how you were going to show up for yourself, if you got hurt, if you did feel disappointed, if he did say something totally out of left field and weird, and you made your practice to just show up for yourself in that way, even when things were awesome, right? That might be unconditionally loving, supportive. Maybe one of your practical things would be reaching out to friends, etc. If you mapped out what that would be for you and how you'd show up for yourself, then I imagine you would dissipate some of the fear and anxiety around the impending doom of getting hurt.
Mhm.
Like in relationship, we're going to get hurt. It's 100% guaranteed. We're going to feel hurt at some point. Could be with a sibling, a parent, a coworker, a person on the street, a partner. We are going to feel hurt. There's no avoiding it. Otherwise, we're just like in bubble wrap, right? Living our lives in bubble wrap. And I know that's not how you want to live your life. It's how would you show up for yourself in the event that you got hurt? It is inevitable. Now, the way the hurt is going to look, the way it'll manifest, TBD. I don't know. Maybe he says something rude. Maybe the relationship ends. We don't know. But start getting clear on what that's going to look like and let that be a part of your custom home play is like how you're going to show up for yourself so that you actually feel more liberty to put yourself out there. Because you're like, oh, if I get hurt, all right, I know what I'm going to do. I got my strategies. I've been hurt before. I got through it. I called my friend or I took myself out to dinner or I took a bath. Okay, I'm here. Wow, great. Awesome. And start to amass that evidence. Now, as far as like the unsavory experiences, there's a frame that I want to give you all. Like sometimes we have unsavory experiences. Sometimes people say weird shit, they do weird shit. Like I'm still constantly surprised by how some people show up in the world. Sometimes it's me. Every challenging experience I have, especially lately, I look at as okay, this is an initiation for me. I am being initiated into my next level, right? Think of like joining a sorority in college, and there's any level of hazing and initiation to get into the sorority, right? It's like we're in a cosmic sorority, class of 24, and we have initiations. Like challenging hard shit's going to happen sometimes, and it is for us to up level ourselves. Sometimes somebody's going to dump us. Sometimes someone's going to say something weird. Sometimes someone's going to cross our boundary or we're not going to speak our boundary. And it's all going to feel crunchy and cringy and however it feels. But it's here for us. So if you can look at this process of creating your Date Me Doc, of getting clear on what's causing you to avoid things and starting to take those actions, see it as an initiation. Oh, I'm being called into my next level. God and the universe is like, all right, bitch, you ready. So let's go. God's never going to give us something that we can't handle. We're going to think we can't handle it, but God, the universe source knows like we fucking came into this life for this. We were born for this. And anything that feels incessantly challenging is a part of your path. For me, it was speaking boundaries. It was hugely a part of my path. Like big recovering people pleaser. And now I teach that work. I had to go through years of not learning how to create boundaries, and I'm still learning, so that I could share this work with other people. And if I didn't let myself go through that initiation, I would not get to do what I get to do now. I would not get to share my experiences. So all of this is in service to you, for the people in your life. So if you can try on that mindset when you can, especially when things feel hard, then it just gets to be this, I'm going to say erotic, like erotic, sensational experience where you are in this mad love affair with the universe. And when things feel hardest and like the most gritty and sensational, like there you are. Like you're like, oh shit, man, I really feel this. When things get hard for me, I'm like, ugh, it's so painful sometimes that it's almost orgasmic. Very interesting association to make. But everything is just pure sensation. Pain and pleasure is just sensation. It's all sensation. Intense pain and intense pleasure are both very intense sensations. And unless we cultivate the capacity to be able to experience sensation, then we're going to shut it out and cut it off. But this is all here for you. The avoidance, the not making time, nothing's wrong, nothing's bad. You're right on time, you're right on track, you're doing it perfectly. And I think your next level is like knocking at your door and is ready for you to answer it. And you got this.
Thank you. That made me
Yeah.
feel good. That was like a weight being lifted off.